Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know, from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars, topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the greatest show where we talk all the best basketball that happened this week. We've got so much to get to. I'm currently watching the Clipper games against the 76ers. Yes, I am. That's going on in the background. Doc Rivers gets to coach against his old team. You know, there's going to be no love lost there. We've got so much to get to. We've got some Luka magic. What a shot. Should he be the logo? Calm down. We need to slow down on that. You guys know I love my Luka. Got my jersey in this week, and you'll be seeing it soon. We've got Steph. Steph needs help ASAP. He needs people in Golden State like tomorrow. They're kind of wasting his talent. You don't want to see that happen again. You've seen it so many times with superstars that their talent just kind of goes to waste. And we'll be talking some Kyrie too. Kyrie's been. We don't know if he's going to show up. That's kind of the thing with Kyrie. But first, I want to get to Lamarcus Aldridge. I want to get to his amazing career. Lamarcus is one of those guys that, it's been tough. If he would have stayed with Portland, what could they, could they have been more? Could they have been with McCollum, with CJ McCollum, with Dame? Could they have been more? What could they have been, right? You always wonder what Lamarcus is. But then he went to the Spurs. He decided to go the Spurs route, right? The Spurs way is the way to win, the way to, championship maybe. But then we had Zaza Pachulia, dirty play. You never know what happens. Does that Golden State Warriors dynasty become a dynasty? I mean, obviously they're going to be a dynasty, but was Kawhi going out? They were up in the series. That whole series took a 180 completely. Could LA have won a championship there? But I just want to talk a little about Lamarcus. Obviously, his health, we always, these NBA guys are always like, oh, they get paid all the money. They get paid all the money. But at the end of the day, they're humans. We always forget. And I'll talk a little bit about injuries in the NBA. I was a little ahead of the curve on this one. I talked about it on my show previous to this. But Lamarcus, though, these guys are superstars, right? They're superstars. They make millions of dollars to play a kid's game, right? But at the end of the day, they're humans, right? They get hurt, your regular heartbeat. He's still a young guy. NBA, maybe he's a little bit older. Athlete, he's a little bit older. But in life, he's got a family, right? That's kind of where you kind of take a step back. You're like, as much as I want to chase this championship, I want to hang out with my kids. I want to hang out with my grandkids. And shout out to Lamarcus. He was a quiet guy, kind of went about his business, did it the right way. That elbow jumper was kind of his patent. When he had you in the elbow, it was almost like a bucket. He almost didn't have to rise up very high. He was just a shooter. He's a good guy. Not many problems with him. You never heard him really in the news. Good for him though. He had a great career. And what does this do for the Nets? They've got to step up. This Claxton kid, the young kid, he's got to step up. He's got to play a bigger role now. He's got to play a role that, he probably was. He's got to grow up fast. There's no other way of putting it. And the Nets kind of, this was a big pickup for them, right? This was their big man that they needed. Maybe slow some people down. But was he going to be that for them? I think so. And they, this Claxton kid, Nicholas Claxton's going to have to grow up fast. He's played good minutes for them. DeAndre Jordan's going to have to be huge for them. We're going to see a lot of guys have to step up and play that Lamarcus role. Lamarcus was one of those guys that they got at the deadline and at the buyout, and you kind of were like, oh, okay, well, they missed out on Drummond, so you go get Lamarcus, who could score, who could play defense, do all that stuff, right? But, unfortunately for them, he chose his health, which is the right thing to do. You never want to see a guy go, you kind of want a guy to go on his own terms, obviously, but he didn't do that. So like I said, this Claxton kid has to step up, grow up fast, and kind of go about his injuries, go about his ways. And Lamarcus, his career, he averaged 19 points, 49% from the field, 32% from threes, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. He was a stud. Dallas, Texas kid, 35. I mean, I don't count. You guys know I don't count people's lettuce. That's the one thing I don't do. I'll criticize you. I'll talk smack about you, but I won't talk about your lettuce. He's made a lot of lettuce, so good for him. Good to you, Portland. What could they have been? We could always say that. What? It's unfortunate his last game was against the Lakers where he would 12 points, 23 points, and I think he was just shy of I'm looking it up now, of kind of it would have been a lot of points here. What are his career stats? Here we go. Yeah, so he was averaging 19 on his career. Guy was good. He was good. Good ball player. Can't be mad at him. Good for him. Wish him nothing but the best. Almost 20,000 points. 49 points away from 20,000. That's a legit career. Legitimate career. Obviously, no championships, but let's get on to this. I was ahead of the curve with the injuries with these superstars, right? So, did I think the NBA came back too fast? 100%. The NBA came back way too fast. They did it for the money. Obviously, I don't count people's lettuce. I've talked about this before. I don't count people's lettuce. But the NBA's got these big contracts with TNT, ESPN. You've got it. They need product, right? You need product. And that's what puts, that's what these people want to see, these marquee matchups, right? But the other day, we had the 76ers against who did they play? Against the Nets, right? And I was kind of building my day around that. I was like, I got to be by a TV set by 6 because that's a big game. And it's probably going to be, I was going to get a lot of news from that. I was going to see how the Nets played. I was going to see how the 76ers played. And I turned it on. Obviously, no Harden, no KD, no Blake Griffin. This was before the Aldridge news. No Aldridge. You tell me I built my whole day around this, and I don't even get to see the guys I want to watch? Come on, man. But that's kind of what the NBA has done to these teams. They kind of have to do that now. I mean, like I said on my last show, the Memphis Grizzlies, they play 12 games in 19 days. That's insane. What was the other team? Miami Heat. And I get the COVID. I really do. These cancellations. But the NBA's got to find I know the lettuce is huge, but come on. Would you rather have a good product or, I don't turn on a game to watch backups. Man, LeBron's out, and I've got an injury report here. Giannis missed 6 games because of a knee. The Bucks aren't going to risk his knee in the playoffs. They're not. And it's bad for the game. I'm looking at here, Evan Fournier. Okay, COVID. That's different. Let's see. Let's go through these major teams. The Brooklyn Nets. No James Harden. Hamstring. What is that? No rest. All right. Go from the bubble. I don't know how many days they had, but from the Lakers, I think the Lakers had 70 some odd games, and he was on the Rockets. So they were probably maybe 90 days. These are world class These are the best athletes in the world, and they're getting hurt. But you got to remember, they're flying from city to city now. They're not staying in the bubble. They're not in a controlled environment. They're humans. Think about when you go on a flight the next day from a vacation. You need a vacation from your vacation. The body has to get used to it. Now think about going to different time zones. We're talking about different time zones, right? You play in California, then you go play in Texas, then you go play in New York. Different time zones. Your body acts different. You're getting at 2 a.m. Then you expect to play at a high level, and we talk about this all the time. They make a lot of lettuce, but come on, they're human. I talked about this on the show before. LaMelo Ball, wrist injury. Gordon Hayward foot injury, out 4 weeks. I mean, he's banged up a lot. Zach LaVine, what's he out for? Oh, COVID, I think. The Dallas Mavericks, they had Porzingis. I mean, some guys are just like, they're always hurt, and they've had history, right? Jamal Murray, torn ACL, one of the best young superstars we have in this league today. He obviously was in the conference finals against the Lakers. Short off season. And don't tell me, that things don't add up. Think about when you go out and play. Obviously, these are world-class athletes, best athletes in the world. I've said this before. But think about when you go play or go do something 2 days in a row. And I get you're not a world-class athlete. I get that. But still, it's a human body. Steph missed some games. Clay, trying to get ready for the season. Who else we got? Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, they take a lot of games off. I'm not one to really talk about them because, the Clippers, they're those guys are known for taking games off. Patrick Beverley, left hand. Serge Ibaka, back. Lakers, Anthony Davis, Marcus Gasol, Markieff Morris, Andre Drummond, LeBron James. Obviously, you take a couple of these with a grain of salt. Markieff Morris played a lot of minutes. They haven't had a lot of players. So he's had to play a lot of minutes. LeBron James, though, ankle. Anthony Davis, short in offseason. Who else we have? John Morant got hurt early in the season. I'm just going through the teams right now. Victor Oladipo. And then we got the Bucks. Giannis missed 6 games. I talked about that earlier. Giannis missed 6 games. That's a marquee player. Big-time players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I'm reading here. I didn't even know he was hurt. Foot, at least out 2 weeks. Young superstar, young kid, hurt. Why? We need the body to get right. So don't tell me this stuff doesn't. Dwight Howard, knee. Seth Curry. He's been pretty banged up out of the lineup. So you mean to tell me the 76ers are without all these guys and they're up 13 on the Clippers at halftime? Inconsistent. We've already talked about them. Donovan Mitchell got hurt last night. Or this morning, I'm sorry. Ankle. Is it worth it? What's going on, NBA? We need answers. I need answers. Well, why? Why do we have to play all these games? You're playing 72 games. Why not? Or 62, I'm sorry. Why not do 50? Give these guys days off. They need them. You get better product. These marquee matchups, it bothers me. It really does. Then I talked about it last week too. But this week, it's all over the headlines. They just came to me first. I guess I'm ahead of the curve. Luka Magic, though. Let's change subjects. I'm a little, that gets me going because obviously, like I said, I don't count people's lettuce. That's my number one rule, and the NBA's got a lot of it. I'm pretty sure them missing a couple games, them cutting out half the game, or not even half, to cut out 5, 6, 7 games. I don't know. I bet you your ratings would be great. Ratings would probably be better. I don't know. But Luka Doncic, guys, he's absolutely insane. I don't know if you guys watched the game. He had a runner for the win. He started off really slow in the game. He wasn't playing very well. You got to be sick if you're the Grizzlies, man. They're I feel bad for them sometimes. They play hard and then they lose to a shot like that. He wasn't playing good. He wasn't playing good. He wasn't. And, Carlisle was joking around. He's like, I don't even bet Luka at this point because, he'll tell me I'll shoot these shots. And if I make this shot, no practice, right? Carlisle was like, I don't even mess with that anymore. I don't even mess with that because he makes the craziest shot. There's a shot that I put on my, I had to repost it. It was absolutely nuts. He was like dribbling the soccer ball like a soccer ball. And then he shot it maybe 10 feet behind the basket and made it. Luka Magic, come on the show, man. I love Luka Magic. You guys know he's face of the league after LeBron. I'd speak so highly of Luka. You guys know how I feel about Luka. I think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. 29 points, 10 for 20 from the field, not bad. 3 for 10 from three. If you guys were betting, sometimes they do that bet where if you hit 4 or 5 3-pointers, you get like on FanDuel. Shout out FanDuel. It's obviously betting isn't legal here in California, but if you don't have it, I'm not getting paid to say this, but go bet basketball. No, there's nothing like betting basketball. I love betting basketball. That's a fun one. You got to do that. But Luka hit this outrageous shot. They were down by 2. Yeah, they were down by 2. They inbound the ball, and he's like running, and he hits this like he wasn't even looking. It didn't even look like he was looking at the basket. He kind of just like runs and like hits like a running floater. He starts laughing after. If you're a Memphis Grizzlies fan, you're not laughing. You got to be sick. I love the Grizzlies too, man. They're one of my favorite teams. I've talked about Ja at length. I love Ja. But I think they're maybe a player, like a big time. But the thing about Memphis is it's going to be tough for them to get a big time player in free agency. But they need to get a bigger player in free agency. And then I want to talk about Steph. I talked about Steph on my last show. I didn't talk. Oh man, that scared me. I want to talk about Steph on the show. Steph is playing absolutely absurd. Like, can I go help him? Like, can I go, like, I'm not going to do much, but I feel like he needs help. Steph needs help, guys. It's one of these careers that we're just going to kind of, like, these, like, middle years. Like, obviously, last year he was hurt. No one to blame, but, that's injury. But, like, Draymond is bad. He had 5 points in 32 minutes. They won, and he was a -1. I quit, He had 1-3 and probably like a layup. You guys know I bash Dre on the show a lot, but Bazemore, what did he have? 5 points, 24 minutes. Andrew Wiggins played a little bit, 9 for 16, 23 points. Kayvon Looney, 28 points. Not much from him. Toscano had 20 points. Shout out Mexico. Toscano got in someone's face. Whose face did he get into the other day? He's trying to fight. Jordan Poole, 14 points. Shout out Michigan. The guy's I'll tell you what. That guy's probably got the quickest trigger in the league. Jordan Poole. He's checking in. He's pulling it. Good for him though. Plus 21. But Steph needs help, guys. Like fast. I've talked about it before at lengths on the show. He needs help. And obviously we have Clay coming back next year. But if Steph, if you listen to the show, you'd be so good in LA. I know you're getting a lot. You're probably going to make a lot of money here pretty soon, right? You're free. You're a free agent after this. They could sign you a lot of money. But man, think about it. You, LeBron, Anthony Davis, they might need to clear some space. They might need to get rid of one of the top guys. They might need to get rid of Kuz or, one of these guys. But man, you won a couple championships. You want to win more. You change the game forever. Why not? Come on over. Another thing I want to talk about, D Wade. Shout out D Wade. He just bought a piece of the Utah Jazz, and you love to see it. Former player buying back into the NBA, and I'll go a little deeper into this a little bit later. But he's a minority owner, African American. Him and I guess the owner, who's also a young guy, big tech guy, big. That's I hope you guys are in Dogecoin. Shout out Dogecoin. But big, he young guy. He kind of convinced D Wade, hey, good opportunity. Buy in. And, Utah's not one of those cities where a lot of free agents like to go to. I don't know why. Maybe it's cold. Maybe, Utah. I guess no one wants to live in Salt Lake. I hear nothing but great things about Salt Lake City. But why not? Well, now D Wade's there. Think about a free agent coming into a room and D Wade sitting across from him. That doesn't hurt. right? Obviously, Miami, they wanted him to be on board with the Miami Heat, but that obviously didn't work out. Good for the Jazz. Really good for the Jazz. A minority owner. You love to see that. You love to see, I think they were saying Grant Hill has a part stake in the Atlanta, Hawks. And then Shaq obviously He owns Sacramento Kings. And then obviously Michael Jordan with the Charlotte Hornets. And then, Michael Jordan owns his team up in Charlotte. It's good. We need that. And D-Wade, they gave him a standing ovation. He dreamed about playing in the NBA. Now he owns a team. I'll talk about this a little bit more on the next segment. We've got so much to get to. I've got some more. I might go off a little bit more on the NBA being selfish. I don't know. The Lakers. I'll obviously talk about the Lakers coming back. How this bench has looked. How it's going to help them. Then we've got some more. We've got so many good games going on tonight. This is another game that I turned on, and now I'm looking at the reports, and the Sixers aren't playing half their guys, the Clippers aren't playing half their guys. And I'm going to tell you why the Washington Wizards are the scariest team that you don't want to play in that playing game. Hold on tight. We'll be right back after this brief message, ladies and gentlemen.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We talked some injury-related stuff that I thought that the NBA has to look into. They have to look into it. I've talked about this at length, and I might talk about it a little bit later. I want to talk about what I learned about the Milwaukee against the 76ers game. So, they obviously played the other night, and I also talked about my frustration a little bit because some of the players didn't play, and I almost felt like I was cheated a bit, but that's okay. That's okay. So, the other day, we had the 76ers play the Nets, and obviously, unfortunately, that was, we hadn't yet heard about the Lamarcus Aldridge retirement. We hadn't heard about that. But if you didn't know, he had a irregular heartbeat, which you never want to hear about. Good for Lamarcus, kind of taking it into his own hands and, making the right decision, I thought. So Wednesday night, we had, probably one of the marquee games of the year. It was the Nets against the 76ers. Was this an Eastern Conference Finals preview? What is this, right? What are we getting from this? So you turn it on, right? You're turning it on. First off, you're getting no Kevin Durant, no Blake Griffin, no James Harden, no Dwight Howard. We didn't get any of it, right? But then we got Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and we got, DeAndre Jordan, and Kyrie by himself. Kyrie had 37 of his own, 13 of 22 from the field. Not bad. 1 from 3 from threes. I think they want him to shoot more threes than that. But what did I learn? What did I learn? What did I think? I still really do have the 76ers over the Brooklyn Nets. And people ask me, what happens when they all come back? And it's concerning, right? And I told you guys I would not give my assessment on the Brooklyn Nets until they all got healthy. That's what we talked about. We might not get to see that. Steve Nash talked about length that we might not get to see their full lineup. What does that mean? What does that mean? We might not get to see their full lineup. No chemistry, and no chemistry. Your argument there is there's some of the best NBA players in the NBA. I hear you. Obviously, I don't want to compare this. I don't even want to say it much, but I'm going to say it. When you get the best 3 guys in the gym at one time, in any pickup game, how does that work out? Right? Offensively. They all want the ball. They all want to score. The only guy that doesn't need the ball and could score at his will, at his own will, whenever when something breaks down, when they need a bucket, is Kevin Durant. He doesn't need the ball. Right? That's not his game. He can play off the ball. You can come off picks. You can do dirty work. Right? Kyrie needs the ball. James Harden needs the ball. They both do. What happens when, Kyrie hasn't shot the ball in 4 possessions? He's probably going to get the ball, bring it up, and, do his thing and shoot. I'll tell you one thing, though. They've established the point guard position for James Harden early, and I like that. I really do. Steve Nash said, James Harden is my guy. Kyrie kind of accepted it. Do we know if he fully accepted it? No, I don't know. But you kept seeing, like last year, right? The Clippers, I don't want to talk about last year too much, but it kind of reminds me of it. Like the Clippers, like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George didn't play much, right? So you were wondering, like, how is that chemistry going to be when they're in the lineup with Lou Will, Montrezl Harrell, Patrick Beverley? Like, how is that going to work out? Ended up biting them in the butt, right? They didn't play together. What do I say about the Lakers? They're not playing with Dennis Schroeder. They're not playing with Montrezl Harrell. Like, Anthony Davis has barely played with any of these guys. Obviously, LeBron has, LeBron could kind of play. He's one of these guys that can jump on any court and play with anybody. That's the way his game is structured. That's the way his game is. But are they going to struggle? I think they are. They're going to need like 15 games. I personally think Anthony Davis needs a good amount of games to play with the Lakers. I really do think so. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm a firm believer in chemistry. I'm a firm believer in you've got to play with the team. Because I can already see the headlines for the Nets, the Lakers if they lose. I mark my word. Mark my word right here on the show. Chemistry was an issue. They couldn't get it figured out. And we see with all these big teams, all the big 3 or all these, they don't win in their first year. The second and third year is kind of when they take off, right? That's kind of when they get going. They play together more. They're used to. They know where they want the ball. Well, Kevin Durant and James Harden, you're going to tell me Kevin Durant and James Harden already played together. Yeah, at the beginning of their careers, that was a long time ago. You mean to tell me you're the same person 10 years ago? 5 years ago? Sheesh, I wasn't even the same person last week. And then Kyrie, right? Like, Kyrie's a whole nother factor. And I talk at lengths about Kyrie, and people are, oh, you hate Kyrie. No, I don't. I love Kyrie. I buy his shoes. I support the guy. He's just unreliable. I mean, it's okay. I like the guy. I like his shoes. Makes good basketball shoes. Just unreliable. I could say that. That's fair. But yeah, so chemistry to me is big. I'm hearing like, the best 30 top scorers, their top 30 score. I get that. I really do. I trust me. I hear you. But you still need to play with people. Like, you need to play with those guys. They got to know where you're at on the floor. Like, how's Joe Harris going to do? Right? How's DeAndre Jordan? A lot of these guys sham it. Blake Griffin. No Lamarcus Aldridge now. That's kind of their big guy. They don't, and their only knock, I think, like I've said it before when they played the Lakers, was they didn't have anybody to guard Drummond. And they didn't have anybody to guard Embiid either. 39 points. 13 for 29. He was aggressive, I tell you. He was aggressive. Ben Simmons, 17 of his own. Tobias Harris is playing great. No one's talking about Tobias Harris either. 26 points. I like this Philly team. I really do. I love Doc Rivers. Is kind of, this is the best job. And, I might take some heat for this, but I think this is the best job he's done. He's kind of come in here. Obviously, he's got a hell of a ball club. He's got a hell of a ball club. One of the best teams. Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, Seth Curry. They got a good team. They've got a good team, right? But he's given this team an identity. Something this team has been lacking for years. It's finally Embiid's team. I've talked about that. It's Embiid's team, right? But he just adds, I don't know if it's obviously Doc, brings experience. He brings maybe some feistiness they didn't have a little bit. He brings a leader. And we'll talk about leaders. I'll talk about Chris Paul here in a second. What he's up to is absolutely insane, but I'll get into that a little bit later. But the Sixers, I like them. When people ask me about the Brooklyn Nets, it's a huge question mark. And I'm serious, it's a huge question mark. They're so talented. They have all this firepower, but they can't guard a big. DeAndre Jordan is not that. He's not that guy anymore. Blake Griffin can't guard a big. Their only hope to me is this Claxton kid, who's been playing really good for them, giving them good minutes. But he can't guard Embiid. He can't guard Embiid. It's MVP. Could be the MVP. And if they go through, who else? Let's say Brooklyn goes, they go through the East, right? Who would they play? Milwaukee. They can't guard. Who do they have to guard? Giannis. Who do they have to guard? Bam Adebayo. Obviously, I don't know if they're going to make it, but who's going to guard Sabonis? Obviously, I'm going a little crazy there. But seriously, they don't have a big. They really don't have a big, and I think that's a big issue. Charlotte, 82-82 right now in the third quarter. New Orleans is taking over Washington. But what did I learn? What did I learn from Philly, right? What did I learn from that game? Not much. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and that's how I felt. I felt cheated a little bit because I kind of built my day up around this game. I was excited to watch it, and then I didn't get to watch it. So, I watched it, but you didn't watch the game you wanted to watch. So, So now, I don't know. The Nets, I'm serious, guys. The Nets are a huge question mark to me. And then we've got the Lakers, right? The Lakers are. So, how do I go about this, right? The Lakers are in the same. The Lakers are on the same path as the Brooklyn Nets. They haven't played together. And like I said, LeBron's a little bit different. They've played together already. Anthony Davis and LeBron have played together already. We've talked about that, right? They're just, But how do they mesh with, is that injury, that AD injury concerning? I would say so. What is it, calf? You know what it really means is they don't want to say it, right? It's that part of the body a little bit lower than the calf. That's what he was holding on to. You don't want to say that. You don't want to say the A word. But, I don't even want to put it out in the universe like that. And they went 4-3 on their road trip, which is obviously great. They just got to keep their head above water. I've talked about that. You can't sink. They can't sink. That's the number one thing. And the Knicks blew them out. Obviously, the Celtics blew them out last night. Beat Charlotte, But it's still concerning to me. It really is. Think about it. Schroeder hasn't played with AD much. Montrez, he's a pick and roll guy. Drummond's going to be one of these guys that Drummond, you don't really need to play with a lot because he's one of these scrappy guys that he kind of hangs out on his own, right? And by hangs out on his own, I mean like kind of does his own thing down there. Kind of gets rebounds, blocks, plays defense. You're not running plays for him, right? Maybe you'll throw it in there once or twice to keep the big man happy, but you're just not like running plays for him. But yeah, it's really concerning. Both of these teams. And people keep talking about them both being front runners. And then I got asked today. What do I think about? What do I think about? Who do I take, Jazz or Suns? And it's funny, guys. So I talked about this. I talked about this on the show, right? I did. I really did. No one wants to give me credit for it, but I talked about it on the show before the national media got onto it. Give me some credit, huh? Give me some credit. But who would I take? Somebody asked me, who do you like more, the Jazz or the Phoenix Suns? You know my answer, right? Phoenix Suns. Phoenix. Why? Chris Paul. Do you guys know what Chris Paul has done in the last 4 games? 40 assists, 1 turnover. Point God. Not point guard. Point God. Guys, he's playing out of his mind. And I've talked about this at length with the Phoenix Suns, with Devin Booker and Chris Paul. Like, Chris Paul takes all the pressure off Devin Booker. All the pressure off of him. Devin Booker doesn't have to be Superman anymore. If you remember, like, watching the Phoenix Suns a couple weeks ago, or, a couple years ago, he literally had to play berserk, hit to score 80 points, and I think they still lost against, a couple years ago. But he had to be huge in every game. Every game he had to be, great. And I say this a lot on the show, but these guys are human. Right? Like, the Joker with no Jamal Murray is going to have to be crazy. He has to take on this. This is a huge deal. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have, like, somebody's shoulder to lean on. You're, like, out there on your own. And obviously he's got, the Joker's got some good, they've got a good team. They've got a good team. But, like, Chris Paul has taken all the pressure off Devin Booker. All the pressure. You can just go out there and kind of play. But that's insane. I saw that stat earlier today, and I was like, no. 40 assists, 1 turnover? Like, I'm trying to think of, like, can you do it on 2K? Probably not. Like, can you do it in the backyard playing with your boys? Probably not. Like, think about that. You pass the ball to somebody and they made it 40 times, and you turned it over 1 time. It's like for those of you guys, you passed it away to the other team 1 time. Or you gave it to the team 1 time out of 40. Now that's like a team thing too, Phoenix making buckets. But man, that's sad. That might be the stat of the year so far. And do they play tonight? Let me see. Are they playing tonight, Phoenix? So they're not on the slate tonight. I don't see them on the slate. No, they're not on the slate. So tomorrow, Phoenix has got... Let's see who Phoenix has. They got San Antonio. He might keep going. He might keep it going. Right? Man. But so somebody asked me that question, right? I get back to that. They asked me, who do you like more, Utah or Phoenix? Put your money on it. I'm putting my money on the Phoenix Suns. Now are the Lakers healthy? Because I think the Lakers healthy. I mean, I don't think anybody's beating the Lakers healthy. I've talked about this. No one's beating the Lakers healthy. And the Jazz, Donovan Mitchell goes down. That's scary. That's their guy. That's their horse. It's their horse. Why? Because the NBA wants this lettuce. They want their money. They want you to play. If anybody from the NBA listens to me, take a day off. Hey, but I'm not the one raking in the millions. Yet. Right? These guys need a break, man. They're playing too much. It's crazy. It's crazy. But hey, I want to elaborate a little bit more on like the East. Because the East, the Milwaukee's still good. Milwaukee, they just don't scare me much, right? I'm talking about teams that scare me. Like who's really going to give the Brooklyn a hard time? Philly. The Hawks, they might win a game or two in the first round. I don't think anybody's scared to go play the Hawks. I don't think anybody's scared of playing the Celtics. The Celtics wouldn't be in the Celtics would be in the play-in game. The Hawks would be in the play-in game right now if they're in the West. Like, do they scare you? No. So right now it would be Hornets against Philly, Miami Heat against Brooklyn in the first round. That would be a fun matchup. Obviously, they got the play-in stuff to go. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Victor Oladipo if he's healthy, Tyler Hero if he could get his act together, Duncan. That's scary. They don't have one of their guys. They don't have one of their dogs. They don't have one, James Harden. Hopefully that hamstring gets better. Because obviously in the playoffs, you want to see, I love the NBA playoffs. There's nothing like NBA playoffs to me. I think baseball comes a little close, Football's, hey, what am I talking? All these sports are great in the playoffs. Well, NBA basketball in the postseason is great, right? Hopefully there's full crowds now too. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good postseason. Still like Philly, man. I really do. We've got more still to come. I've got some crazy. What's going on with the MVP? We're gonna talk some MVP talk. We're gonna talk some more Nuggets. I want to talk a little bit more about the Nuggets, and we've got some guys that declared to the NBA. More to come. Stick around, ladies and gentlemen.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We've got, I want to talk a little bit about, I just talked about, all the crazy stuff that's going on in the NBA, all these crazy games that are being played in such little time. And it's kind of affected a lot of things, right? It's affected, there's been injuries. There's been, some teams that are capitalized from this. There's some teams that are going to, maybe going to struggle from a little bit of this. A little bit of everything, right? We're going to see what's to come with the Brooklyn Nets. Can they figure it out? The Lakers, can they figure it out? But let's get to this MVP talk. So, I learned a long time ago that sometimes opinions are great, right? Like, you hear people talk. So, the way I form a lot of my opinions is I'll go and I'll listen to, 3 podcasts, 4 podcasts, and then I'll listen to like 3 shows, 4 shows about the NBA. And then I make my own assumption, right? And then I also obviously watch a ton of basketball, and then I make my own assumption. That's what I think a lot of, that's probably the best way. Because if you watch one thing, you're just going to be one-sided, and it just doesn't work out that way. Nothing in life should work that way, and nothing that you have to make decisions on should work that way, right? You should get multiple opinions, multiple views. And so that's how I take my sports, right? Obviously I have my guys that I listen to, if you know me well, I love my Colin Cowherd very much. And, but I love podcasts too. I love, JJ Redick's got a good one. Who else? The Ringer's got a lot of good ones. But that's kind of how I form my opinions, right? I hear all these guys talk, and then I watch games, and then I kind of form my own opinion, right? That's kind of the way I do it. So I've been reading a lot, and but another way that I look at things is betting odds, right? Because Vegas doesn't lose much, right? Vegas does not lose. Betting is obviously great, and I want to bring betting more into my show, just because I'm not the biggest bettor, but because it's not legal here in California yet, but eventually it will, right? So I look at a lot of odds. That's kind of my big thing, like Vegas is hardly ever wrong, and Vegas kind of knows lines. Vegas kind of, I don't know how they do it, numerically and all this good stuff, but they usually don't get it wrong, right? Because they don't like to lose lettuce. I talk a lot about lettuce on this show. They don't like to lose their lettuce. So I was looking at the MVP. So I was like, let me look at the MVP contenders, right? So it's like the Joker is minus 225, right? And then Joel Embiid is plus 240, right? Giannis plus 1,200. Hell of a year. James Harden has dropped. He was second at one point, I want to say. And now LeBron James is at 1,600, plus 1,600, and Luka's plus 1,700. But this is my argument. This is what I want you guys to look at, right? Dame is 1,700 as well. Wow, Steph Curry's very low, and I think Steph, obviously, he's not on a very good team, and I think that's probably why he's getting. But so let's stop talking about that. But are we kind of giving? Is it Joker's MVP to lose? Like, are we just giving it to him because all these guys are hurt, right? Because Joel Embiid has come back, bounced back, and has had an amazing. Like obviously he got hurt, right? He was out some games, and are we going to penalize that? In a shortened season, right? Are we going to penalize that? Think about it. So let's look at the numbers tonight, right? So the Joker played against the Rockets. He had 29, 16, and 7. How efficient was he? They won 128-99. They should have won, right? And I'll get into scores here a bit later, but I'm just gonna look at stats right now because that's kind of what it is, right? Plus 9, 29 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, plus 9. So he had a pretty good game, right? 10 for 12 from the field. That's sufficient. So good game, right? And now let's look at Joel. Joel's been having amazing games. If you haven't watched Joel lately, turn him on. He's must-see TV. Must-see TV. He's a big man. Hakeem Olajuwon feet. I mean, the guy is balling. Let's see what he had tonight. 36. He had 36 tonight. 10 for 20 from the field. 50%. No threes. He shot 18 free throws. 14 rebounds. 1 assist and 2 blocks. So, Embiid hasn't skipped a beat. Like, are we penalizing him for missing games during kind of like a tough season? Kind of a down season, right? A season where, nothing has really kind of gone the way it should be. The other day against Brooklyn, he had 39. Game before that, he had 36. Game before that, he had 27. And then they lost to New Orleans. He only had 14. But are we penalizing him? Almost averaging 30 points, 11 rebounds? I don't want to knock on the Joker or anything, but obviously he's the one that stayed healthy last. But is it my argument to you guys? It's not an argument. It's a discussion. We're looking at arguments here. My discussion is it kind of a last man standing then? Because that's not. And to my argument, Joel's the best player on the best team. Philly's in first place. The Nuggets are in the 5th seed. Right? Do you guys hear me out? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Is what I'm saying making sense? Like, the Joker's averaging 20, almost the same, 26, 10 rebounds, almost 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. And I don't want to take anything away from the Joker. I really don't. I don't. He's great. I think he's magnificent. He could score at, plays his game. Probably the best passing big man in the game. Let's see his numbers as of late. 29, 17 against the Heat, not great. He had a triple-double though. Let me be quiet. 27 against the Warriors, 17 against the Celtics. I mean, he's had a triple-double against Miami, so. But you guys hear what I'm saying? Like, is he kind of like last man standing, so like he should get the award? That's kind of where I'm at. Like, if LeBron comes back, let's go back to these odds. Giannis is also having a good year, but he's missed 6 games, right? He missed the last 6 games. He played tonight. And then James Harden. He was leading the Nuggets, or the Nets and everything, till he got hurt. Everyone was talking about James Harden's the MVP. James Harden's the MVP. You turn on the network, you read an article, James Harden's the MVP. He got hurt. Backs away. Should players be getting knocked for being injured? And my answer to that is, in normal years, I think so. In normal years, yes, right? Like, obviously, none of these guys want to get hurt, right? Like, no one wants to get hurt. But in a year like this, where you're playing back-to-back, so you're playing all these games on all these nights, like, should the Joker be, like, should he be applauded for not missing games? I think so. He should. But I think you should also take in consideration the year for these guys that are missing games. Like LeBron James. He would have been the runaway MVP, and Joel Embiid, it would have been neck and neck. Well, if none of them get hurt. So let's say LeBron comes back, right? He plays 15 games, 12 games, whatever it is. And he averages a triple-double. Lakers run the table. Like, what happens then? He obviously had a great first, 3 quarters of a season, and he got hurt. What happens then? You know what I mean? Does he get back into the discussion again? And somebody asked me that today, and I was like, I don't know. It's a weird year. But are we just giving this the Joker because he was the healthiest and played the entire year? Maybe. I mean, that's what it seems like. I don't know. I guess things are going to change, right? I don't know. It's crazy. Giannis coming off back-to-back, It's going to be interesting to see, guys. Real interesting to see. Like if Harden comes, I thought Harden was the MVP, for what he's done. He didn't have, he had Kyrie, but you don't know about Kyrie. He didn't have KD. Just inconsistent, and he's kind of led that team. Kind of showed up mid-season, kind of been doing his thing, but he's been balling. I put him in my conversation a long time ago. He was kind of like my Anthony Edwards, right? I said, guys, keep the door open for Anthony Edwards, but Anthony Edwards has just been so inconsistent. Anthony Edwards had a chance to, come and take this award. I legitimately think Anthony Edwards could have been the Rookie of the Year, but he's not very consistent on a nightly basis. And the Timberwolves just are a complete mess. But back to the MVP talk, is Joker going to win it because he's the last man standing? That's what I'm asking. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, though. I think it will be. Hey, I don't know. Just food for thought. Food for thought. And I found this betting one, and I find things like this so great. Let's see the Rookie of the Year, if that has changed at all. So we talked about that, right? Wow. I have some interesting breaking news for you guys. Oh, Anthony Edwards is the favorite according to DraftKings. April 15th. I would have never thought that. April 15th, this was taken in Anthony Edwards. He's the favorite. Very, very. I just take my word back from what I said. Injuries. LaMelo Ball second. Wow, I that's breaking news to me. Breaking news to me too. Wow. Okay. Let me be quiet. What do I know? Okay. Now let's see the championship odds. Is this gonna surprise me? Brooklyn Nets, Los Angeles Lakers. Nothing has changed. Clippers. So they have Brooklyn Nets at plus 250. Lakers at plus 350. Odds, according to DraftKings. So the Nets are clearly, no one's kind of worried about it. No one's worried about injuries, I guess. That's what it seems like. That's what I'm getting from this. Like, no one's worried about the Nets. No one's worried about the Lakers with injuries. The Clippers, can Kawhi... I've said this all along. Clippers and Bucks are the next two teams. Jazz are fifth, though. I said no one's scared of the Jazz. Then the Sixers, and then the Suns, and then the Miami Heat. No one's scared. No one's scared of the Utah Jazz. You could go put money on the Jazz right now, and make some good money if they win the championship. Even the Phoenix Suns plus 2,000. You're getting paid. But what it tells me, with the Lakers is no one's really scared. No one's scared of the injuries. And I personally am. I've told you guys before. I don't know how healthy Anthony Davis is. I don't know how healthy Kevin Durant is. I think they're very beatable. I talked about this. This is some crazy sportsbook stuff. I love, April 14th. What's today's date? Today is the 17th. So, yeah, 3 days ago. Very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what they have for the playoffs. I want to add a little bit more about this on the show is betting because I've really enjoyed betting. So they have the Dallas Mavericks. Let's see how we read this here. Try to get this for you guys. Atlanta Hawks. Yeah, I'll do this a little bit later. I don't like this one so much. But that's interesting to me. The rookie of the year thing really has opened my mind. It really has. Because I would have never thought that. I would have legit never thought that. Look at that. They want to have me bet. I can't bet. We've got so much to get to. I want to get to the scores, though. We've had some good games these last couple days. The Celtics beat the... And I also want to tell you guys why I'm scared of the Wizards. Like, if I'm a team in the East that's maybe going to make the playoffs or the play-in game, I'll tell you why I don't want to play the Wizards. But let's go over some scores. Sixers, obviously. Remember, I told you guys, a game I wanted to watch it. Then no one played. The Nets made it a game, but it wasn't the game that we wanted to watch. Hornets lost to the Cavs 103-90. Clippers barely. I don't think they had any of their starters, though, the Clippers, on this game. No, they didn't. Pacers beat the Rockets. Warriors beat the Thunder pretty good. Mavs beat the Grizzlies in that crazy Luka shot. Nuggets beat the Heat. The Heat, man, they're still, Wizards beat the Kings. Wizards, guys. I'm telling you guys. You guys want to talk? Don't sleep on the Wizards. Celtics, Lakers. Celtics they spoiled the Laker party at Staples Center first night at, with fans. I want to get into that a little bit later, too. Our more arena is going to do that. Bucks beat the Hawks. Drew Holiday, huge night, 23 points. Warriors beat the Cavs. Obviously, that series isn't the same anymore with no LeBron, right? Cavs are, great city, but no one's going to go there anymore. Then Friday night, we had some good games. The Utah Jazz, no Donovan Mitchell, beat the Indiana Pacers 119-111. Sabonis, one of my favorite players in the NBA, 22 points. It looks like Bogdanovich led the charge, 24 points. Donovan Mitchell. I thought he was hurt. Did he just... Oh, I guess he played. Just tied up the laces. 21 minutes. Played 21 minutes. Oh no, that's when he got hurt. Yeah. What am I talking, Eddie? Yeah, he got hurt, but he was having a good night. 22 points. Jordan Clarkson, 18, sixth man of the year. Former Laker, Filipino. Put that on paper. Who else should we have? What other good games? 76ers beat the Clippers. Clippers are playing good. I tell you guys, the Clippers, Rajon Rondo's a difference maker. They get Rajon Rondo, they're a whole different team. They had won, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They had won 7 straight games. They're playing well. They snapped their 7-game win. The Sixers, Embiid. I'm telling you guys, Embiid is my MVP right now. As much as I like the Joker, I don't want to get into it again because I already got into it. But the Joker, Embiid's having a hell of a year. And that's why they're my pick for coming out of the East. What did Ben Simmons do? 12 points? Yeah. It's not his team anymore, so. Danny Green, 11 points. Who else? Maxey? Maxey's having a good year for them, too. Boogie Cousins signed another 10-day. That's good for him. Rondo, though, 26 minutes, 10 points, 8 assists. Guys, Rajon Rondo, I talked about on the show. He was one of my favorite pickups. I said you go back and listen. He was one of my favorite pickups at the trade deadline. He's just a difference maker. He's like a Chris Paul. They take pressure off guys, and that's what the Clippers needed. Somebody to take pressure off people. In the playoffs, look out. New Orleans Pelicans. Zion Williams 9 for 18, 21 points. Brandon Ingram 12 for 27. Rough night for him. 34 points. Wizards win. You guys, I'm telling you, jump on the bandwagon before you're left off. Bradley Beal, Russell Westbrook combined for 66 points. Telling you guys, jump on the bandwagon. Jump on the bandwagon while it's available. I'm telling you. They might not get in, but if they do, I'm saying Grizzlies. My boy Jamal Murray goes off, 126 to 115. The Bulls, man. What did Vooch do? 24 and 14. Yeah. Nuggets win. Here we go. Let's see. Timberwolves beat the Heat, right? 119 and 111. Let's see my Anthony Edwards stats. Anthony Edwards, 12 points, but a plus 19. He must have been pretty efficient tonight. 5 for 13, not bad. 2 for 6 from 3, not bad. 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He must play, Good job, Anthony. Got to be consistent, though. 12. I need 20. Naz Reid, 16. Okay. Karl Anthony Towns, 24. D'Lo, 11. I don't know what they're going to do with D'Lo. D'Lo's like a weird situation. D'Lo's like, I don't know. Well, I don't know what his perfect situation. Guys, the Knicks, though, that's the one I wanted to get to next. The Knicks are balling. Julius Randle is balling. He had 44 tonight. He was unstoppable tonight. Julius Randle, 44 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. He took a lot of shots, 6 for 29, but, guys, he was unstoppable tonight. Luka couldn't even stop. What did Luka do? Luka had 22, 7 for 16, 2 for 9 from 3. Man, that would have been a good bet. Let me tell you, if you did FanDuel, Randall over 40 and a Knicks win, that would have been a nice payout. If you do FanDuels, go do that. Go do the double doubles. So much more to get to. I still got to tell you guys why I love the Wizards so much. I got to get to that, and then we also got some more college stuff coming up. USC's got banned. More to come on the show. Stick around.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to wrap it up after this one. We've got so much to get to, though. Let's get into what I wanted to talk about was this USC playoff. Or not, actually, USC got banned, right? So what I'm reading here is that they were considered to be bribing. So I want to get into that a little bit, right? I want to get into like NBA bribery and then like college bribery, right? What does that mean? So bribery basically means when you like have a recruit and you're like, come to the school, maybe, maybe money's involved, maybe other things are involved, incentives are involved, right? But you mean to tell me that all these big time schools, the Kentuckys of the world, the Kansases of the world, Dukes, North Carolina, you mean to tell me these programs aren't throwing a little bit of money under the table? USC's got to get better at this, or I don't know what USC's going on. Obviously, back in the day, the whole Reggie Bush saga, right? We all know that. Obviously, football. The guy wasn't let in the university for all these years. Finally, this year, he's finally back. They've allowed him back. But it's crazy, right? So let's see what happens. So according to the NCAA, the committee used Division I membership-approved infractions, penalties, guidelines to prescribe the following measures. 2-year probation. Let's see what else. 2-year probation, a $5,000 fine plus 1% of men's basketball program budget. So $5,000 for USC. USC's about $50,000 to go to semester. 1% on the program budget. A reduction of men's basketball scholarships by a total of 2 during the academic year. Self-imposed by university. Like, these things have me laughing. A reduction of men's basketball official visits to 20 during a 2020 self-inflicted. Self-imposed. A reduction of number of men's basketball recruits person days by 20. So it cracks me up. Like, these guys it's self-imposed by the university. So these universities are now slapping their wrist before the NCAA slaps their wrist. And, obviously, it's funny to me because, like, a lot of these schools are like, all right, we're going to punish ourselves before the NCAA comes at us, and we're going to show the NCAA that we're responsible, and then we're taking measures into our own hands. That's basically what these slap on the wrists are. A $5,000 fine. What is that going to do to the program? And I'm not against players getting paid. I've already talked about that. The NCAA is $1 billion industry. Got to pay their guys. I've talked about that. I will argue against anybody about that. Got to pay the guys. Don't care how much the school makes. Don't care how much the program makes. You got to pay the guys. $1 billion industry. No excuse. Right? So it cracks me up, man. Like, so I guess they fired their coach, right? The coach that it happened to. Like, so they fire him, okay? You probably wanted a guy. You wanted one of the Mobley brothers. Who did you want? Right? Trojans finally learned punishment for former assistant Tony Bland's actions. Cracks me up, though. Like, why? Like, what's the deal with that? I don't know, man. You mean to tell me all these schools, there's all these top recruits coming into their program, they're not throwing money at them? You're crazy. If you don't think there's people, when you go to the mall, people are giving you samples to come in their restaurant. You mean to tell me they're not giving you money to come and play at their program? I will argue against anybody. Anybody. And obviously, if you're a kid, your parents want you to go to Duke, they want you to go get a good education, they want you to go to Gonzaga, good education. Yes. Of course. But if you can put some lettuce in your pocket, right? And I've talked about this before, scholarships aren't enough. Call me crazy, call me whatever you want. Scholarships are not enough. They're not. Obviously, they're getting a great education, and I understand that. And the education is a lot more, a lot of these kids come from, some kids come from tough backgrounds, right? So you wanted to set them up for life. That's what that education does. I agree with that. I get that. Trust me, I hear you. I hear you. But if you're making all this money off of somebody, that's a cash cow. You're making billions. Billions with a B, guys. I don't know. USC's got to be better, though. USC's got to be better. First football, now basketball. Got to be better. And I'm not saying you got to do it, but everyone does it. And that is just because everyone does it doesn't mean it's right? I trust me, I know that. But man, come on, USC. Southern California, you ever been to Southern California? It's a beautiful campus. I don't get how USC doesn't sell itself. I always tell people that, when people ever come visit me, I take them by USC. Like, how do you not just go here? How does USC football not very good? How is USC basketball not very good? I just look at them and go, I don't know. I don't know. Good weather, good food. Campus is right, not the best area. But downtown LA, close to downtown LA. 15 minutes from the beach. Come on, USC. You got to be better. Paying money? Come on. You got to be better. I don't know. That's a segment I definitely want to get into here a little bit. Coming up later on the podcast. I'll do a segment about NCAA. You guys know. People know. If you listen to the show, you know how bad the NCAA is. I don't have to tell you. Let's shift gears. Just to touch on that, the Mobley brothers, just to clear for the NBA draft. They had no, he's gonna be a lottery pick. He didn't have much more, right? Much more to give. So, yeah. I wonder if that was one of the kids that, they kind of might have a little bread off of. Right? But now let's shift over. I want to get over to this teams that are scary, right? So the play-in tournament, some people are complaining about it. Some people don't want to do it. You're going to have to do it. Unless you're going to not show up and play, right? But you're going to have to do it. And my scary team that people are like, wow, they're not even going to get in. They might not. But if they do get in, so I have two teams that are scary. My two teams that, let me see. Let me go over this. So one, I'm going to go two on the West that I'm scared of. And then two on the, all right, let's do 2 and 2. Let's do 2 and 2, right? Who am I scared of? So let's start off. I'm going to start off with the West. The Pelicans are scary. The Pelicans could go off any given night. Zion could go off any given night. He's an unguardable guy. You don't want to play him in a one-game series because he could go off, and you just can't stop him. Ingram could go off, and you just can't stop him. Obviously, a lot of these teams have guys like that. The Kings. They have De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield. Not like Zion, though. Zion could change a whole game. That's not a guy you want to play. And the other one for the West? Steph. The Warriors. You guys better hope. You don't want to play him in a playing game. I'm telling you, you don't. Steph will erupt on you. Steph is playing arguably the best basketball of his career right now. Call me crazy. Call me whatever you're going to call me. He's playing the best basketball of his career right now. He is. One-on-one, obviously, right? We're talking him versus somebody else. He's playing the best ball of his life right now. I saw a stat. He's like one of, I don't know how many players to have like more than 30 points in consecutive games. He's balling. And you don't want to see him in a one playoff game. If you're the, Dallas plays Memphis or one of these teams, you don't want to play him. I'm telling you. Trust me. You don't. And obviously he has no help, right? Draymond's washed. Bazemore washed. Wiseman out for the... And then they had an interesting comment. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Guys that are tradable. Let me write that down so I don't forget. But yeah, he'll go off on you on any given night. And then we have, on the East, there's two teams, right? That I've, the Indiana Pacers and the Washington Wizards. The Washington Wizards might not make it. There's a good chance they're probably not. Let me see how many games back are they. Oh, they're not far back. They're not that far back. So the 9th seed gets in. So they're about 4 games back, right? But if you get them a play-in game, you got to face Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook and Hachimura. And obviously, they're 22-33. They beat good teams. They just can't beat the bad teams or, normal or like average teams. And that's a problem. I'm not saying that's not a problem. It's a huge problem, I think. But yeah, those are my 4 teams. Like, look out. You don't want to play them. You don't want to play Zion. You don't want to play Steph. You don't want to play the Pacers. Just good, rounded basketball team. And you don't want to play Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. You don't. Pick your poison, though. And, in baseball, I hate to use that H word, but we hate the one wild card game. It's not it's not good. I don't like it. Doesn't make any sense, right? You play all these games for a team to beat you one time and it's over. And that's what a lot of guys are saying about this, right? One team could just have a good night. And I get it. I do. Just play better. It's literally simple as that. Play better. Let's move over to I want to get it in tradable. I got 2 things I want to touch about the tradable guys in the NBA, and then there's the defensive player of the year, right? So it's Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and probably Rudy Gobert. Those are your top 3 guys. LeBron was in discussion, but he got hurt. I talked about that a little bit earlier about guys getting hurt. They fall out, right? Embiid goes, I want the defensive player of the year. I should be the defensive player of the year. Then he acknowledged Ben Simmons' greatness, his process. He's been a monster defensively all season, Embiid said about Simmons. I do think he should win it. He has an impact on the court, especially every single night guarding the other team's best player. I'm not fighting about it. But I just thought you wanted the defensive player of the year. So who wants it? Embiid or you? Embiid or Simmons, I'm sorry. Simmons is playing out of this world. And, him and Rudy Gobert clapping back at each other the other day. Rudy came at him. And then Simmons said something along the lines of, I'm not an offensive player and I gave you 36. But let me tell you, Rudy Gobert is a game changer, guys. He's down there, active hands, blocks everything, rebounds everything, gobbles everything up. Probably the best rim protector in the NBA. But then Simmons is arguably one of the best one-on-one defenders. That's why, the Sixers I like. They have somebody that could match up. Obviously not KD, right? No one's going to guard KD. Guys like that aren't like, you're not going to stop guys like that. You just slow guys like that down. But like Embiid, they have no one to guard Embiid. But back to this defensive of the year. I think it should be Simmons. Because he brings his hard hat, he brings his lunch pail to work, and he plays defense. Simmons, obviously, he can't shoot, so he's got to make an impact another way. And he's bought into that. He's bought into being that top-end defender. He's bought into maybe scoring 12, 15, taking a roll back. He's bought in. Defensive leader. You got the big guy down there. Obviously, you got the guys get by you, you're a little more confident. That's why, the Utah backcourt, guy gets by him. You got Gobert back there, gobbling everything up. So, does that play you a little bit looser? Are you a better defensive team because of that? Maybe, because you can play aggressive. You can be up on guys, and somebody in behind you is gonna have your back. It's okay. Smart. It's smart. It'll be interesting how that comes out. And I want to touch on this tradable thing. So, Steve Kerr was interviewed the other night. And He talked about somebody. A reporter asked him, "What do you think about James Wiseman?" Excuse me. What do you think about James Wiseman? Is he tradable? And he said, "We probably have about 3 or 4 players that are, untradeable, right?" But what do I think about that? I'm trying to get this quote for you guys. He said, "He is so promising and so gifted, and we're devastated for him and this injury. It's a shame he had a rough go between missing training camp and the wrist injury, and now this. Promising talented, great young guy." So you say all that, and then you say, no, the only guy that's untradeable in this NBA is LeBron James and Steph Curry. I agree with that. I do. What are my players in the NBA that are how many players are truly untouchable, he said, in the NBA? I don't know. LeBron James, Steph, Giannis, everyone else is tradable. Was that a shot at KD? I don't know. I might just be looking into things. It's okay. Who do I think? So my guys that I think are untradeable are LeBron James, number 1. Number 2, Kevin Durant. Number 3, Steph Curry. I'll put Steph in there. Number 4. That's it. I have 3 guys that are untradeable in the NBA right now. Oh, you know what? I'll put 4. No, I'll give you 5. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Luka, and Zion. Those are my top 5s I'm not trading. I'm not trading those guys. You can't go out in a draft and find those guys. You can't. You just can't. Right? When have you ever heard of LeBron James in trade talks? Never. When have you ever heard of Kevin Durant? These guys go where they want. Where do you Steph Curry? Never. You tell somebody gives a call to Mark Cuban about Luka. What are you giving me? Part of the ownership in your franchise? I'm not trading this guy. You crazy? Somebody calls David Griffin, the Pelicans. What do you want for Zion? Guarantee you, he says, you better have a whole lot. And first round picks and dudes aren't enough. Right? Yeah, obviously Giannis and Joel, those guys are, Dame. They're good players. Just not generational talents, right? It's different. So when people ask him as Wiseman, of course, why not? Get a good deal for him, get another first rounder. I bet you if the Warriors want to do it over again, they take LaMelo, right? I know. But they took Wiseman. They hit it was wrong. They were wrong. And obviously, I am not going to say they're wrong. I take that back. He's young. He's a young kid. Bigs develop a little bit slower than, any other position, really. It's a tough position. He's big in the NBA. Are you kidding me? Playing against monsters down there. You're playing about Gobert. You're playing against Embiid. You're playing against Drummond. You're playing against grown men. It's tough. Think about when you were 19. Mentally, you're just not there. Physically, you're just not there yet. It's okay. You're 19, 18. Wiseman played what? 7 college games? And this year was tough for him. Is he tradable? Of course. Get a good deal, you're gone. It's a business. NBA is a business. Grown man business. You don't produce, you're gone. They'll pay you to leave. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show today. I had so much fun with you guys. More to come next week. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Eddie's out.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.